Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only podcast that records always on Sundays and haven't been off of Sundays in forever. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine Sunday morning?
I guess. I'm muted, so that's great. Now
Yep.
I'm not muted, so no one learned that I was doing fine.
Are you not able to unmute yourself?
You just do it, so I don't touch it.
Fair enough, I guess.
So I don't think of it, so it's your fault, not mine. Better to blame you than me. I had to catch up on AEW last night, and I think it made me go insane. But otherwise, I'm doing great.
When you say last night, do you mean specifically Collision? Because I think Collision last night
No,
made a lot of people insane, but not for the reasons I think you're talking.
No. I was told that Collision missed out on Sammy Guevara and Wheeler Yuta matches. As far as I'm concerned, that's a victory. No, I did not watch Collision. I had to watch Dynamite.
Well, don't worry, you were the only. I don't think you were the only person that missed out on Collision last night because Warner Brothers screwed up the broadcast.
I know, that's why I made my joke that they cut it off with no Wheeler Yuta or
Sammy
Guevara matches. That's a victory as far as I'm concerned. You didn't miss anything. If anything, you missed like mediocrity. Anyways, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it indeed. We have a good amount of stuff to talk about, of course. We're here Sunday. We're going to be previewing a lot of big-time stuff. That is, of course, including AEW Double or Nothing. AEW Double or Nothing. Oh, Jesus Christ. We'll be previewing that. We'll also be previewing that Dean show, that Dean 2 show that they're sort of doing for free. Free tickets, I believe. I don't know. I believe it's airing on IWTV, but which is funny because it's free tickets, but that's a paid service. But I'll double check that to be certain. But we'll talk about that sure as well. But also we have it's a Memorial Day weekend, so we got a bunch of shows. We have WWE Saturday night's main event, which is sure to be a barn burner of a program. We also have Marigold has a big time show, Shine Forever. All the way over, of course, in Japan too. So we'll discuss that as well. And if we have time, we'll discuss some more topics. But longtime listeners know at this point that if AEW pay-per-view is on the docket, that's at least the first hour. So I think without further ado, Scotty, we should probably just get into it because I think that time is of the essence, weirdly enough, when it comes to AEW pay-per-view discussions.
I just learned what some of these cards look like, and then I stumbled upon the TNA card, and I was disgusted. So it's just sounds good. We can talk about
TNA. TNA is also having a show, I think, on Friday, I believe.
I also just learned the Double or Nothing card. So
there's also a NXT Battleground this weekend as well. So
you're gonna see my face reaction to that match.
When you see the TNA Under Siege card, you're like, "Oh, this is just a preview tag for the NXT." I don't even think main event probably on Battleground.
No, why the hell would that? Why the hell would the TNA World Title main event NXT?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe there's an argument that like who's the check Miles Bourne or something is challenging Obafemi.
Yeah, but like Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordan Grace is happening. That's way better than
that should be the main event
too. Yeah, absolutely.
Like Miles Bourne is just like a guy they suddenly started pushing just now out of the blue, kind of. So it makes sense to give it the main event to someone.
Is that not all of NXT though?
Well, like, I guess that's fair.
Like, isn't that like
it is a developmental brand after all?
Like TNA has no reasoning behind theirs. Don't get me wrong.
Well, TNA's of course is their reasoning is we're going to do a preview tag for a show that isn't ours.
TNA is doing what? Oh my god, it's just so bad. Masha Slamovich versus Alicia Fox.
Yes.
Victoria Crawford. I would have said that, but I don't know if anyone knows that.
So what about Tessa Blanchard with Robert Stone from NXT versus NXT's Ariana Grace and her father, who I don't believe is her father in the TNA verse?
It is.
Are they related? I know they're related.
I believe they
are shoot related, or are they kayfabe related? Okay.
No, I think they are. I don't know. I don't fucking care. All right, and that's TNA Undefeated, everybody.
Well, just real quickly, I do want to say about that though. Tessa Blanchard with NXT's Robert Stone. We're even closer to Tessa Blanchard and showing up in NXT.
It is inevitable.
Oh, don't forget about Cody Deaner returning against Eddie Edwards. Are you excited to see Cody Deaner?
No. I didn't even watch the last TNA show that you did watch. You think I'm gonna watch this one?
I mean, no. I mean, this, to be fair to TNA, I guess this is a TNA plus. I guess not to be fair, but like this is a TNA plus, so it's like
to be fair,
not important.
TNA,
you know what I mean?
It's reasonable that this show sucks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are other things going to be happening. I mean, do we even discuss the Canada versus USA border brawl that they'll eventually have at the end of the month? Wait, actually, is that at the end of the month? That says May 25th. Is that next week?
It's Sunday, buddy. Battleground versus border brawl versus Double or Nothing. That is a 3-way war if I've ever seen.
Why is TNA up? Well, I was going to say, why is TNA doing the show? I mean, I guess
paid.
I know why. Well, yeah, but like they're going up against like two things that they're gonna watch over. You know, people are gonna watch over them. Why even try?
Holy shit! It's Nick Nemeth versus Santino Marella.
Nothing screams Canada versus USA like
in a flag match.
In a flag match? Oh man,
dear God!
This okay.
TNA,
so here's the question. So this is the confusing thing about this show. I've
tried to get off TNA 10 times, guys. Just remember this.
Well, first of all, you can't say I tried to get off of TNA.
Well, because I was learning the Double or Nothing card. Okay,
you can't say I'm trying to get off TNA when you got us on TNA.
I didn't think you would continue. That's my bad. It's my bad.
But the Border Brawl show is Canada versus USA in Niagara Falls, Ontario, right? And they already did the gimmick, real life gimmick, where they're trying to get Trump to attend the show, right? They're like PR thing of like, let's get Trump on the show. Is this show gonna be pro America or pro Canada?
I don't know, but if he ends up showing up to watch Nick Nemeth versus Santino Marella, holy shit!
I want to see Donald Trump put the Cobra on. That's what I want to see. I don't think that's sadly, Scotty, I think in 2025 that is not a reality that isn't impossible.
Well, he is a WWE Hall of Famer.
Exactly. He belongs here. If he belongs anywhere, Scotty, he belongs at Canada versus USA border brawl. All right. Should we get off the TNA and talk about Double or Nothing?
I guess. I mean, we're off the tracks. We're just going down the hill. No one's stopping us. Head-on collision, no matter what. We're just trying to avoid people. It wouldn't
be Ring Post Radio if it wasn't that already. Well, let's talk about Double or Nothing. Glendale, Arizona, the Desert Diamond Arena. Of course, this Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. You can get it, of course, Triller, Prime, wherever you want to get.
Hey! None of these companies support us. We don't have to give them.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Unless Amazon wanted to pay us.
Wink. Yeah. So we have a little bit of a card already. I hope so. The show's next weekend. Good point. We have a little bit of card already. Obviously, I think at this point. There is 0 hour matches that are yet to be announced, of course. And then, I think we'll start here because there is, of course, an Anarchy in the Arena match, Scotty. But much like Cage Match, much like you and me after watching Dynamite, I think, there are a bunch of question marks about who is exactly in this match right now. Because, there's kind of like almost too many people in a certain degree, like of a typical 5-on-5 Anarchy in the Arena.
Well, a certain bald guy doesn't need to be there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, a certain bald guy. Well, John Moxley. But it's just... Apologies, Carl Anderson. Well, Carl Anderson's not here. That's the problem.
But I wish Carl Anderson was there.
Machine Gunka. But yeah, so it's the Anarchy in the Arena match. We have a vague idea of who's in this match, right? So I guess so I don't know. How do we approach a preview when we don't exactly know who's in the match, but we vaguely know? We know
What
on the face side, it's probably Swerve for sure. Willow,
didn't Fightful report it?
I have no idea. Am I doing
Let
am
me
I
see.
doing a thing where I don't have all the information?
For the match itself, Fightful Select has been told to expect Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, Kenny Omega, Samoa Joe, and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Young Bucks, John Moxley, Gabe Kidd, and Marina Shafir. It was noted that Katsuyori Shibata and Claudio Castagnoli could be added in their respective sides as well.
To make it 6-on-6?
Yeah. Hook and
Okay.
Wheeler Yuta weren't mentioned, so they're just geeks.
Yeah. I could see them doing if they
It'd be
wanted
really
to.
weird if Claudio wasn't in it.
Well, I was gonna say it was like I could see that like being a 0-hour match, like so they could talk about it in the 0 hour,
Yeah.
like Claudio
Yeah.
versus Shibata, which is like,
It'd be a cool
hey,
thing to do for like an advantage. There's no advantage in this
ooh,
match. There's not an advantage in this match.
you're right.
It's not blood and guts.
You're right. You're right. Well, let's just invent an advantage. What's an advantage you can have in the Anarchy in the Arena match?
Your song plays, obviously.
Yes, that is true. Your song plays for 5 minutes. And
And
you
if
can just
Shibata fails us of having Willow's song play, then have we succeeded ever in our lives? No.
that would be great if Willow's song just played. What was that? Was that Stephanie Vaquer in CMLL where Willow's song just constantly played?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we have Anarchy in the Arena. Like those are the participants that you just stated. That's good to hear. What are you feeling about this Anarchy in the Arena match? And I guess where we would be heading post that. But what do you think about the match so far?
Well, I hate Anarchy in the Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate yearly matches that have to happen at the same show, no matter the company.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you think the build was good here?
I mean,
Because I think
kind of.
for me,
My
it's like
take
the yearly
my take
matches
is
are
kind of.
okay. The yearly matches are welcome and okay if the build is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so my take is like the kind of like because to me the Death Riders team still feels super super forced. And when I say that, it's like the Young Bucks and the Death Riders thing doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
And then, like obviously Gabe, like come on.
Yeah,
Like,
we're gonna put Gabe in a
yeah,
tiny little
come on,
corner for a second.
right. Which I'll have my talk about Gabe in a second, Mr. New Japan, who going well for him. All the New Japan fans turning on him as we speak. And then on the other side, I think it all does make sense. Like that has been kind of the story obviously told is that conglomeration of people has been the constant force against the Death Riders. So I'll give that credit, and I also just really like that team, so that helps. Like
What was that team again? It was Swerve, Willow,
Swerve, Willow, Smojo, Powerhouse Hobbs, and
fifth person.
yeah, fifth person who I got rid of the things. Now I can't even look at it. Oh my god, who the hell was it? It was a very obvious person. No, maybe.
I genuinely have no clue.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I would have said Shibata at this point, but you said
yeah.
Shibata.
It wasn't Shibata. It wasn't Shibata. Did I say Hobbs?
Yes.
Fuck. All right. Whatever. Oh God.
Now we have to look at where this.
I'm looking again.
Hobbs, Joe, Willow. 2 Willows. We're gonna clone Willow, and she's gonna be the 5th person in the match.
2 Willows. That's sick.
Yeah, that's. I mean, 2 Willows is basically like Samoa Joe.
Oh, it's so mega.
Oh, Kenny Omega. But of course,
that says a lot about that return. Okay, but it's. That's
Kenny
crazy.
Omega, Swerve, Samoa Joe. I mean, that's a fucking banger ass team. Holy shit. It's Kenny Omega, Swerve, Samoa Joe. I mean, stop there. And then you throw in Willow. Oh my god.
So like
all the stars.
My main critiques of this aren't like, oh, I think the teams are bad. Though I do think John Moxley's bad. He's averaging 1.2 stars per singles match this year for me. 1.2. 1.2 stars. You know how bad that is? Anyways. But I'd rather see all these people in like real matches.
Sure.
That's always my takeaway with Anarchy in the Arena. It's like you look at the rest of the card and you're like, could split this up. And again, this is always my critique. This will always be my critique. It could be WWE, it could be AEW, it could be Dragon Gate who does their cage match every year. I don't like yearly set matches like that.
Sure.
I just don't. Because you have to force something, right? And my care for war games and blood and guts. So this is better. I will give them that. This is better than those. But yeah, I hesitate to get excited because these are 45-minute brawls that can be a lot to follow.
Plus, I'm just looking up. I was looking up to see like which number of Anarchy in the Arena this is, and this is, of course, the fourth one. We're not, if you could say the fifth one in spirit if you count the Stadium Stampede, right?
You know what? I am going to count it. You know why? Because you said so. Weren't there 2 Stadium Stampedes?
I believe so. 2021 would have been. Yes, 2021 I believe was the Stadium Stampede, and then 2020 they had one later in the year, I believe.
They did one with Jericho. They did 2 with Jericho. I
yes,
just remember that.
And then they did one Anarchy in the Arena with Jericho, and that was because that was the Eddie Kingston one,
right?
He came down bloody with a gasoline container, and that ruled. But just looking at the cage match listing here of the 3 Anarchy in the Arenas, first one in 2022, 9.07 5 stars. 2023, 8.73 5 stars. 2024, 8.32 4.5 stars. There is an element of diminishing returns. Now, diminishing returns, and they're still all technically great matches in a populist sense, right?
But you do see a trend.
There is a downward trend slightly. And I do have concerns, this being the 4th Anarchy in the Arena, the 6th multi-man massive brawl, I guess, in an arena. That, there could be concerns of just generally diminishing returns, right? Like, is this going to live up? Is this going to be the first Anarchy in the Arena that isn't great? I don't know. I don't really think so, because like we talked about, look at that one team. You got freaking Omega, Swerve, Joe, Willow, great wrestlers, Hobbs. And on the other side, I mean, Mox is not necessarily having a great year, but he's
not
one of 10 people that could be that all he has to do is brawl, and he's still a good brawler, I think. Young Bucks always have fun in innovative spots and things like this. Marina Shafir. All right. All right. The weakest, I think, of the 10, but I think that's fine. And then Gabe Kidd, which, again, we'll get to his whole thing in a second, but Gabe Kidd honestly does perfectly fit in these sort of things. You've seen him
already. What I'm mentally prepared for?
Him yelling at you that he's a madman?
Yeah.
I'm
a madman, 75 times throughout the match.
But you've seen him in similar spots in those Bullet Club War Dog steel cage matches in New Japan that they did twice already, right?
Yeah.
So
sure.
that like he can go in this sort of environment.
Yeah. No, like it's always weird because Anarchy in the Arena can be a great match. I just think like it's not special.
It's losing its charm a little bit.
Every year it loses more and more of its luster.
Yeah.
It loses. It's not shiny anymore. It's starting to get a little rusty. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should just buy a new one. What's the new one? I don't know. Because it ain't blood and guts.
That's the other thing about this all is that we also know
it's gonna
that
just be happening there too. Like it's gonna be the same match in some other form there.
Yeah, that we know that this is all gonna lead to a blood in the guts at some point.
I think, to switch a positive note on this, so I'm not the Debbie Downer of this entire preview, Willow being in it rules.
Yes.
Like plain and simple.
The first 2 women, Willow and Marina Shafir.
Willow should be getting the pin in this match.
That would rule. I would love that.
That is my confident 100, because listen. I have been on this show way too many times to be supporting and pushing the idea that Willow Nightingale should be pushed to the world champion spot for her not to win this match. She needs to win this match. Also, screw the Death Riders. She needs to win this match. She can pin Marina Shafir. No one will bat a freaking eye. Yeah, she should pin Jon Moxley.
She should pin Jon Moxley.
You're right. I'm trying to have a reality where she should pin Gabe Kidd. Just piss off every New Japan fan in the world. Holy shit, that'd be awesome. Not really, because I feel bad for actual New Japan fans, but certain New Japan fans, you really piss them off. And I don't like Gabe Kidd. That's the other point. But I do think Willow should win. And I think Willow's going to have a Crimson Mask in this match, and that's going to bump it up a half star. Like, there are things here that are just going to make this cooler. Also, I have all the trust in the world with Swerve. I have all the trust in the world in Samoa Joe. I don't know if Kenny loves these matches, but I do trust him to deliver in such match.
But I think it's like he is sort of in the same boat for me as like the Young Bucks, where it's like I trust their seemingly constant creative ingenuity that like they're gonna do something like weird and wacky that's fun.
I do got to say this. I don't think there's a more unlikable team for my present day fan than the Death Riders team. Like, everything I look at, I'm like, oh, that's not, which I guess is good, if they lose. If they win, we have a problem. Now I have a good trivia question for you. Do you remember how last year's ended?
I have to remember who is in last year's.
Kazuchika Okada, Jack Perry, the Young Bucks.
Was that the one?
Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, and FTR.
That's the one where they lit Jack Perry on fire.
Yeah.
Was that the finish? Lighting someone on fire feels like the finish. Was that the one where they dangled Darby in the air and super kicked him in the face a bunch?
Yeah, and then Jack Perry pinned Bryan Danielson.
Oh, yes.
Jack Perry is nowhere to be found now.
Yeah.
Again.
In some ways, I think that was a good idea, obviously, with Danielson retiring. But a year later, and Jack Perry's nowhere to be found, and it's like, all right. I guess maybe it wasn't.
My first thing when I saw Gabe Kidd was, what happened to Jack Perry?
Yeah, well, okay. So I'll say this real quick, is that, like, I think whereas the Anarchy in the Arena match is definitely losing its luster for me, I'm still very much excited because, at least for the babyface side, I like all of my trust is in that. Is like that. I really like that, and even on the heel side, I think there is some fun individuals in there that could bring creative violence to this. But the Gabe Kidd of it all, the elephant in the room, the mad elephant in the room, if you will. Why is he in this? Why is he in this match?
I don't know.
It doesn't really make sense.
Explained it on like Collision, and I was like, well, I don't want to watch Collision to learn that.
Well, so apparently the idea is that like he's potentially in the Death Riders now. I think the idea is that he's with Mox. That was what Moxley said, I believe. Let's see if I can find a quote online real quick. But
anyone else watch Resurgence when he made fun of his opponents, who happened to be two people that will be on his team in Anarchy in the Arena? Because I did.
Yes, Jon Moxley says Gabe Kidd works for him, which would seem to imply to me that he is part of the Death Riders. So,
I'm not gonna lie to you, that doesn't help me at all. He works for you? That's great, man.
Yes.
He actually worked for New Japan Pro Wrestling, if we want to get serious.
I haven't seen the actual quote. I'm just hearing people seeing people tweet, he works for him or whatever.
Have you seen the reactions from Japanese fans?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a
they're absolutely right.
It's obviously coming from a couple posts on Twitter, but I think it speaks to a larger, or at least silent majority or something of just like, this is a guy, Gabe Kidd, that his whole identity for the past while, really, a couple years really, has been, I'm a New Japan guy. Screw every other company, WWE, AEW, yada, yada, yada. Screw everybody else. I am a New Japan guy, and I'm that through and through. And then when he had the Omega match, that really built up into like a almost babyface reaction of like, I am a New Japan guy. And, Omega's coming in, he might have been New Japan back in that day or whatever, but I am New Japan now, yada, yada, yada. And it came out wearing the trunks with the lion mark and everything. And now he's in AEW, seemingly in the Death Riders, and online fans have posted saying how this upsets them, which I think is completely fair. It is completely fair to be upset because they're like, hey, you just said that you're New Japan and now you're AEW seemingly. Like this idea of where we keep maybe potentially losing all of our Westerners. I mean, I think like Super J Cast was the podcast that was sharing all of these Japanese fan sentiments. But I think they also made a good point of like, at what point do we start actively blaming New Japan themselves? Because it's like at what point do we have to say to ourselves, why aren't you signing these guys down longer? Or rather, when you have them, pushing them harder. Why isn't like Gabe Kidd after
I
the
don't
Omega
think
match
they can push him
doing
harder.
stuff? Well, you could have pushed him to the world
He's
title.
literally winning the global title in a month.
I agree. I think their point is it's like, it's you have these guys for however long, and because of two companies in America, you're going to have them for less, which means if you
but here's my attack. I know exactly the point that they made. Here's my attack on it. They're going to leave either way.
Which, yes, that's what Super
Why
J
push up a guy that's not going to be there next time?
Because
anymore? They've done this for years, though. Jay White, they pushed to the moon and he's gone.
Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say push to the moon is the secondary title. I'm saying if you want to push to the moon, you push them to the world title. Well, you have them.
But that's my point. They push these guys to the moon and then they still leave.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how Bushiroad works. We have to accept this. It's hard. For me, it's hard to say, oh, you should be pushing Gabe Kidd over Yota Tsuji, because at the end of the day, who's more likely to be there next year?
Yeah. At the end of the day, this also isn't my argument. I'm just trying to say what they're saying.
I understand that, but I've seen this argument, and it's like, I don't know how many times New Japan fans have to have this argument of like, the reality is these people are going to leave whether you push them to the moon or not.
Yeah.
You might just push them out the door quicker if you push them to the moon, truthfully, because then what do they have to accomplish? Will Ospreay was a different guy. He stayed a lot longer, right? He could have been gone a year before. He could have been gone a year before that. The same goes for, Jay White was, they gave him everything.
Jay White was already on the other side of.
Yeah. And once COVID hit, that changed Jay White, obviously. Like, my thing is, it's like, I understand the idea of why don't we push this guy immediately? And honestly, there are better people, I think, than Gabe Kidd to point that out with. Like Kevin Knight, who's never been pushed, for example, right? He just kind of dwindled there. So when he left, everyone was like, good for you. You deserve it. But like, again, Gabe Kidd's going to win the global title in a month.
Yeah.
Like, there's not that much bigger of a push with how that title's been presented. It's number 2 to the top. And also, like, I'm sorry, do you want Gabe Kidd to beat Hiroki Goto right now? No. That's my thing. I can't have this. I don't like that argument. And again, I'm not Mr. Bushiroad. We know this. So like, at the end of the day, it's still their fault. I get that, but at the same time, they're not going to compete with AEW, WWE. So like, why act like that's going to happen when it comes to contracts?
And it's a proven thing at this point that they literally can't compete to them, whether it be on the top of the card like Okada or Jay White or Ospreay, or even the bottom of the card, or lower at least on the card, like guys like Kevin Knight, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's not just, and to also be clear, not just AEW. JC Mateo just popped over.
Oh, I know. Here's the other thing, though. At the end of the day, you guys can blame New Japan all you want. Trust me, I love blaming New Japan, Bushiroad. Trust me, I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, who's the one saying all these things that's making it backfire on him? It's Gabe Kidd. When you say I'm New Japan, fuck AEW, WWE, and then you show up, that's that.
Well, but that's also whether whether or not that is Gabe Kidd's true belief when he's saying these things, right, is, I guess, to be fair, unknown, right? He is part of the Bullet Club War Dogs gimmick. He's a madman. His gimmick that he was given was that he's a madman. I believe that's what his gimmick
I
is.
believe that is it. Yeah.
So he is doing what he believes is to fulfill that gimmick.
Sure.
If he he's rooting for the company that he's currently working under and all these sort of things. Whether or not that is his true belief, that remains to be seen, I guess, to be said. And then the fact that he's popped up in AEW, not the first time, obviously, he's popped up in AEW earlier this year. But the fact that he's popped up in AEW to me shows that, like, yeah, he's not that thing. It's the thing that, like, I read this book. It's on my shelf right there. There was a quote in it that I really enjoyed, and I was saving this, I think, for an eventual Ring Post Radio quarterly that we have to record, a quarter record. Is that there's the quote is something to the effect of that there really is like no free speech in professional wrestling, and the idea that like you're all independent contractors, but like you can't necessarily just say whatever you want because you have to sort of say whatever the company talks about to a certain degree. Gabe Kidd, whether or not he truly believes these things are, who knows? But we know that he works for New Japan currently, and he's a madman. And he's being put into these positions where he's against like Eddie Kingston or whatever, right? Or Kenny Omega. So he's constantly put in the positions of like, I'm the New Japan guy going against the AEW guy. Why not build that rivalry up, right? Or even if he doesn't, even if that's not his idea, maybe he was told that idea. Someone was told that I made that idea. So it's just a thing of like, I'm not going to be mad at Gabe Kidd for jumping over to AEW for this thing. I think that's completely within his right. So it does become this thing of like, at this point, it's a lot of New Japan fans, and I guess to a certain extent, maybe AEW fans of like, or just general wrestling fans of like, pointing fingers and want to discuss like who's to blame and all these sort of things. And we've talked about a lot on the show is that like, at the end of the day, AEW is still the big dog comparative to New Japan. New Japan is in a down spot. I think one thing that you would agree here, Scotty, with Super J Cast and made their point is I think someone said the idea of like, why don't you just sign Gabe Kidd to a new contract? And I believe Super J Cast, which was, I assume, Joel running the Twitter, his response was, with what money? Yeah. With what money can New Japan hold down any of these people? And that's the problem is that like New Japan, Bushiroad, Japan in general, doesn't really have any money right now. And you want them to keep them. Yes, I think you should, use them to your best of ability while you have them. But, when there is an American company, there's two American companies that have way more money and are able to give you and pay you a lot more money, unless you truly want to stay there, like a Zack Sabre Jr. type, people are going to leave. That is just how it is. That is how it's going to be. Eventually it will turn off. Eventually the Japanese economy will be fixed.
Yeah, now this is where I do stop siding with the New Japan side. Bushiroad's never going to pay.
Yeah, definitely not right now.
They could watch the yen store. They're not going to pay. You know why? Because I saw their financials come out, and I think they still said not Bushiroad, New Japan and Stardom are still down because they don't care about their wrestling. At the end of the day,
not in terms of what expenses or
like just
profit?
Money. Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can find out exactly what it is.
Overall, they don't care about wrestling. Okay, like just accept that and move forward. New Japan cares about wrestling. Like Hiroshi Tanahashi cares about wrestling. Don't get me wrong, but Bushiroad has shown full force over the past couple of years, no matter the company, how much they're willing to pay per se and so on. So it's a two-sided coin. Because I do think Gabe hurts himself with what he says. I do think New Japan hurts themselves with how they deal with these things. And I think at the end of the day, it is what it is. You move on, you'll get over it. But it's hard for me to talk about the push thing When again, if you push them quicker and faster, they sign quicker and faster. That's how I've always seen it.
I mean, and I think that's also a fair point. Is if you push Gabe Kidd to the moon immediately, then where is he to go? What's these people are competitive, right? These people at the end of the day
Right.
are competitive athletes.
Yeah.
Ideally,
Uh-huh.
so it's like they want to achieve that goal. If they achieve it so quickly, then it's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Especially Scotty, if you don't have them signed to a contract.
To prove that this isn't a New Japan only thing, this won't make people feel better, but just to prove something when it comes to AEW, Stardom has had 2 international wrestlers in the past couple of years. Where are they both going to be working as of? Well, technically, I know she's going to leave, but where are they?
Technically,
Tekla obviously is joining AEW. Mariah May joined AEW as soon as her run was over. So
Megan Bain
Megan Bain as well
already. I don't know, but
yeah, we don't know that one. But we'll say they all signed, and it's like it's just how it goes at the end of the day. AEW loves to sign their partners wrestlers, and that's just the world we live in.
But I also think at the same time, their partners.
Also, I don't think Gabe Kidd's going to be successful in AEW. I just want to say that. I think
he'll be successful in AEW.
I think him jumping this early would not be good. I don't think he's figured it all out yet.
I mean, you could arguably say the same thing about Kevin Knight at the time.
Oh, and I never said my main point. Not giving this to an actual roster member sucks. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But to clean up before we get to that point, to clean up the Gabe Kidd stuff is like I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he will. Kevin Knight, when he jumped over, I don't think was also a fully fledged product. I think he was never like properly pushed to New Japan to get to like a big singles guy or anything. I think he is still like developing to a certain degree, but his ceiling is like super high already, right? And he's already like a really great wrestler. I think Gabe Kidd will be fine if he jumps over to AEW. But I think
work on TV.
But the point that you're saying that AEW is going to sign their partners, at the very least Western talent, to a certain degree their local talent, but Okada, Mina Shirakawa. I think at the same time, it's not necessarily 100%. I think at the same time, it's also a thing of your Western talent are going to leave for an American company. Not necessarily that AEW is poaching talent and doing all these things that we've dealt with the Okada, Ospreay, White stuff a couple years ago. But it is also this thing of the economy's bad. These companies don't have money. They are going to leave. And they are going to be signed. It's a chicken egg thing, right? It's that thing. It's like if AEW's interested, then they're going to sign them. But if they're interested in leaving, they're going to go somewhere and get signed.
It's 2 different ways to look at it. WWE signs the ones that have been there forever, and AEW signs the young, up and coming, bright talent, which I think is what hurts them more, hurts New Japan fans more than say the Jeff Cobbs and Tamatongas of the world. That cuts a little bit deeper. Because it's also the partner, So I understand it from both sides. But yeah, it is what it is at this point. I mean, I think it's a tiring conversation for anyone. I think that's why Japanese fans are valid for their feelings still, though.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't say all this and then you just show up on the TV show and you're helping. Meanwhile, you're also going to be fighting for the global in a month. And it's like, how are we supposed to feel,
The bigger thing about all of this is that, like, this guy feels like he could be turning babyface. Maybe not this year, but like, Wrestle Kingdom, next year, right?
If anything, very soon. Yeah, the way they've positioned them.
And now what all this really does is like
go to shit now.
Yeah, all this really does is that like this hurts that process, which maybe,
which they were seemingly giving into.
Yeah, right. They were leaning into that idea. Granted, if they're not planning on doing it like super soon, like 6 months, if they're planning to do it like a year plus, then it doesn't matter. Then it's like, okay, great, this is gonna stall it. But still.
Yeah. I've seen people say, oh, well, what if this is working into the Forbidden Door build? I was like, all right, let's not lie to ourselves.
I could. It certainly could, I guess.
I mean, it's hard for me to be convinced of a Forbidden Door build this early.
Yeah.
We just threw this pay-per-view together as far as I'm concerned, based on watching Dynamite yesterday and learning about the rematches this morning, we seem to put most of this card together just now. So I don't think I have a hard time believing Forbidden Doors in the picture per se right now, but
Well,
what
also
do I know?
the other thing is that Forbidden Door is after All in Texas, and they're
Right,
way
right,
more
right, right.
focused on that. Which, to be
As
fair,
they
they should
should
be.
be. As they should be. I think they're so focused on All in Texas, we've watched Dynasty and Double or Nothing just kind of get tossed together last second, which is fine.
Well, to be fair to Double or Nothing, and we can move on and talk about the next part. A lot of
They
the
have two
build,
big build-up matches. Yeah.
a lot of the build with Double or Nothing is because a lot of the TV has been eaten up by the Owen Hart Foundation tournaments, which I thought were both very strong, like they always typically are. On the women's side, we have Mercedes Moné versus Jamie Hayter in the finals. Winner, of course, faces Toni Storm at All in Texas.
Come on now.
Sorry, my apologies. Faces Mina Shirakawa, 100% sure. And then the men's side, Adam Page versus Will Ospreay. The winner of that, of course, will face, as we saw on Dynamite, officially Jon Moxley. Well, I guess not officially. I guess he could lose his title still, but will probably face Jon Moxley at All in Texas.
Yay.
So, what are we thinking about those two matches? I think they're both going to be very strong.
So first of all, I have a
I'm
hard
very
time
excited for them.
combining them because I think it's very different
Sure.
to me. And I think but I will say this, I think there's two very obvious winners that make the most sense for the biggest match, and then I think there's two people that I can't get behind.
Let's start with the women's match.
Yeah, so the women's match, Mercedes Moné is winning, but like I don't know where this idea has come of like there's history between Jamie Hayter and Toni Storm, and that's what we're playing up at the biggest show of the year. There has been no signs to me until this tournament that Jamie Hayter was the one that was challenging Toni Storm at the biggest show of the year.
Mm-hmm.
There have always been signs, though, of who is the biggest star in this promotion when it comes to the women's side of things. There's been two people, no one else. That's Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm. I know like a lot of people said like, oh, this sets them back and blah 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 because then both of your women's titles are in the same match and all this. Well, who's been essentially the world champion since the moment she walked in a year ago at Double or Nothing? Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
She's been the world champion essentially. Why would her first loss come in the tournament final when she could be going to All In and having the biggest women's match possible in this company? There's no part of me that looks at this match and says, oh, Jamie Hayter's winning. Oh, that's the right choice too, by the way. It's not the right choice. The right choice would have been Chris Statlander or Will Nightingale for someone that wasn't a like champion beating Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
And also, like, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. If Mercedes Moné's first big loss comes in AEW because Athena runs in, who, by the way, has disappeared from television again, I will roll my eyes.
I mean,
that will not.
You wouldn't be. It'd be a swerve. You wouldn't be expecting it.
Yeah, swerves in the main event. Thank you. Enough swerves. We have one swerve.
To me, that's like WWE booking of like
very WWE. Booking.
I guess with Moné is plausible, but
and seeing so many AEW fans push that has been very funny. Because it's like, why do you want that? You don't want that. You want your tournament final to be a great match between two great wrestlers. End of story, right? And that's what this is going to be. And Mercedes is going to win.
Yep.
And it's going to be Mercedes versus Toni Storm at All In. Both titles on the line. Massive match.
I think it's more likely.
Maybe not both titles on the line, but,
Yeah.
At least the world title.
I think it's more likely that like the Renegade Twins thing finally happens before the Athena thing happens.
I agree.
I think it will be just the world title, of course. But if, let's say, Moné wins, do they combine the two titles?
That would be bad, probably.
Is it bad? I'll give you this. Is it bad if we go into this whole other theory of maybe warming up for tag titles?
Yes, because tag titles don't work in America. We've seen no one
What are you talking
gets
about?
them right.
What are you talking about? That's so disrespectful to the TNA Knockouts division.
Oh yeah.
They're
Because you have to throw.
long-standing titles.
Because you always have to throw together teams, right? Like at the end of this, you always have to throw together teams.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep I like the two singles. The TBS has treated them well.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot of people over, like it's done a good job. It's done its job. Like there's no reason for me to get rid of it. To me, and people might not like this, the best case scenario is Mercedes just wins the world title and it's like, I don't need this anymore. Like, is that trashing the title a little? Maybe, but at the same time, it's opening up an avenue for other people to get a chance now.
It's making it a clear secondary title,
which is what it's supposed to be and hasn't been since she held it.
Yeah. Which is
fine.
Which is very apparent during the Mariah May title reign.
Oh yeah, there was one world champion. Her name was Mercedes Moné.
Scotty, who was the last person to beat Mercedes Moné in a one-on-one competition?
Willow Nightingale.
I don't.
At Resurgence when she got hurt.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
The person before that though was Mayu Utani, bitches. And who was the person? Not due to injury.
And who was the person before that? You'll never know this person.
Oh, I have no clue.
Shayna Baszler.
That's crazy.
On
Holy
SmackDown.
Shit. Well, they can run that back if they feel like it.
I guess that's true.
She can get one win back. She can get
the
other one more.
I definitely agree. Is the Jamie Hayter thing interesting? I think it would be interesting, but I think like ultimately it's the Mercedes Moné.
It'd be cool for like Double or Nothing.
Yeah. Yes. That would be a cool.
Not all in. That's not in England.
Yes, that's also very true. It would be interesting, but it is like Mercedes Moné is right there, and you could do a match that is the biggest, like Scotty, literally the biggest women's match in AEW history, without a doubt.
Not even a question.
Not just two champions, the TBS champion and the AEW Women's Champion fighting for the first time, I believe, ever, but also the two biggest stars of the women's division easily. With Toni Storm, you can almost argue the biggest star, one of the bigger stars in the company. This is the biggest women's match in AEW history. Jamie Hayter is nice, but Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm would make it the biggest match in women's history. Now, when we get to the men's match,
women's history? Holy shit.
In women's history?
In AEW.
The main event of WrestleMania, I think, like the WrestleMania main event.
History in AEW.
Men's side, Adam Page versus Will Ospreay. Now, you have different feelings regarding this.
Oh my God, do I? So I finally watched. I finally caught up on all the Dynamites and whatever.
What did you think of that tag? What did you think of that opening tag?
It was fun.
I liked it a lot. I was like, "This is
fun."
Nice. This is what I
liked the tag last week more. The trios, not with them.
Yes,
the Swerve. Yeah, that I loved that. That was really fun. Anyways. I just say the Swerve and you figure out. That's great.
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot remember. I was like, Swerve, Young Bucks,
Ricochet, and Swerve.
Oh, by the way, hate that I like Ricochet. Hate it.
We'll get to him a little bit more because he's on the show already.
That bastard. What was I talking? Oh, yeah. So I watched the promo from 2 weeks ago. With Hangman and Ospreay. Mm-hmm. And I thought Hangman was fantastic in it. Like, there's just so much realness to what he says, and he uses everything that he's done to build his character. And then Ospreay came out and just was like, "Yeah, that's all great and all, but I have to win." And I was like,
"Yeah,
all right, man." like, there's no connection for me to Will Ospreay these days. Like, I understand he gets a big reaction, but like in terms of character work. It's night and day to me for these two people. And there's like, we've been talking about the Death Riders. We've been talking about the Death Riders and what embodies overcoming the Death Riders more than Hangman Page, who's been the guy since day freaking one in this company.
Yeah.
Just nothing. And the worst part of it for me is I know he's not fucking winning. Like, that is the worst part about watching Hangman Page. I know he's not winning, And I know you're gonna say, well, Ospreay loses a lot. I
Yes.
understand that. That's been a problem in itself. We've
Yeah.
talked about that.
Yeah.
But this time around, he should be losing, and he's not gonna. The solution for this world title is All In, Texas, Death, Hangman, Moxley. That is my solution. And guess who's winning? It's not really a hidden. I've been pitching everyone to win the world title since mm, uh World's End, maybe.
Yeah.
I think we've been starting to get the belt off of Moxley since, which is pretty bad because he won the world title like 2 months before.
Yeah.
But like it needs to be Hangman. It should be Hangman, and it's not gonna be Hangman. That's my problem with this match. I know this match is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be the match of the night. It's such an exciting match on paper, like just because of the two people. But I am going into this, watching his promos, watching the way they're selling this, like just imagining him finally coming out of the babyface tunnel with his old song at All In, goosebumps. Fuck, I feel like Dwayne all of a sudden, and I just know none of it's gonna happen.
I don't. Again, though, I don't know. It's not. I don't. It's definitely not 0% chance. It's definitely not
no. But like my hope for Hangman to pull it off is so low because it never happens. I know he's been world champion before, by the way. I understand that.
I'm like sitting pretty at a 50-50 for me. To me, it's a coin flip of I truly have no idea.
So
and it's Scott, I want to be clear. This is a coin flip of not who's going to win this match. It's a coin flip of who's going to lose this match. Who's going to walk? No, who's going to walk? These are two guys. You're talking about politicking, back in the 90s or whatever, back in the 80s, Hulk Hogan, this ain't going to work for me, brother. These are two guys that are politicking specifically with the line, this is only going to work for me, brother. These are two guys that are going out there politicking their way into a loss. Because it's better for their character of Adam Page for him to lose. I would almost argue here, Scotty, if there's any point in this right now where I don't necessarily think, I think it would be jumping the shark a little bit. It'd be a little bit too far. It would be past the peak of Adam Page right now to continue to lose because the character aspect of him right now is he's turning things around, right?
Yeah.
He's changing his aspect of his life. He's changing, all these sort of things. If he loses again, what that tells his character is that it didn't matter if you changing anything. It didn't matter. None of the things that you try to do to fix your life, it matters. Apologizing to Swerve or all these other things would ultimately matter. So none of it matters. And then he just becomes a nihilist and shit sucks and life's over. Which I think might be a bad idea. Right? Will Ospreay, you talked about his character is certainly weaker. And at the end of the day, his character is ultimately a British guy that is ultimately the best wrestler in the world, right?
That's his character. That's not a good character.
The irony of his character, Scotty, as we've pointed out in the show, is that he's the best wrestler in the world and he loses all the time, especially in big matches.
He wins and wins and wins until the big match.
If anything, I would love the character moment for Will Ospreay where he says, I have to win. I'm the best wrestler in the world. He's not acknowledging the fact that he loses all these big matches, but he acknowledges through a loss here. Oh, wait, I didn't win. Maybe I'm not the best. Maybe I'm not the best. Maybe we get a crisis of faith moment for Will Ospreay. That could then give a character dynamic to him. That's sort of the crisis of faith stuff we get a little bit with Adam Page, right? And Swerve and all of the top stars in AEW is questioning, am I great? Am I a great wrestler?
And that's the thing for me. It's like it works for Hangman because of his history.
Yeah.
And it's why I'm so convinced that he should be the guy. And here's my other problem as well. This has nothing to do with either of them. I have no faith either of them win at All In. So that's the other problem.
I'm pushing that out of my brain.
Yeah, I know. I just had to bring that up. It's like we're fighting over this, and then because here's the thing, I have been convinced 2 years in a row when the Owen Hart final comes around.
Yeah,
the same man should win both times. It's been Hangman Page. I said it last year, and boy, oh boy, looking back, boy, was I right. Sorry, Bryan Danielson. You had a great match and a great moment, and then you left us with shit. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And now I sit here where Hangman's no longer a heel.
Yep.
And he's going back to the good side, right? He's going back to babyface. And him failing, like you said, puts us past the date of this works. Right? Like that, because
we are over the peak if Hangman loses.
Also, got to bring this up since I brought it up last match. All-In isn't in England. Why does Will Ospreay have to win this one? You should have just did it last year when everyone thought you would.
Yeah.
Just wait till next year for Will Ospreay's moment. Not this year.
If I had to think about the All-In Texas match, I would say that if Will Ospreay wins here, Double or Nothing, I feel like
he loses.
Or at the very least has a bigger chance of losing. If Hangman,
I agree.
If Hangman Adam Page wins here, he has to win it all in
buddy,
Texas.
buddy, I would be so like I wouldn't take back everything against AEW because I'm not insane. Like we've been through the roads with Hangman Page, right? We have been through this. We have somehow he's still suffering because of CM Punk. I don't know how. CM Punk's been gone from this company for 2 years now.
The Tam Road lives on in Hangman.
No shit, does it not? Oh my god, that's such a good point. That might have Hangman fans lose their mind. But it's true.
What, me calling Adam Page the biggest star of the company?
Oh, that's a good point. And that's the thing, like there is such a very, 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 very clear match for All in Texas between these two and the match style and how you can make this great. And obviously, in the end, he would have to win. If you're gonna end this Death Rider story because you for some reason have to keep riding along with it, why wouldn't you end it at the biggest show of your year?
Yeah.
With the guy that everyone has said is the guy for
1 year after the Death Riders started. Well,
right.
Not 1 year, but
1 year after you sided with the Death Rider story over the Hangman story. Now it comes all back around for them to combine. And I don't know, man. Like, I think, and it's funny. Do you remember when they did the Jon Moxley Hangman feud? And I remember the story around that time was Jon Moxley wanted to help get Hangman back on track or whatever, right after all the Punk stuff. It would be very funny that all these years later, Hangman Page is the one to get Jon Moxley back on track. Very different because Jon Moxley has just decided to be bad compared to Hangman having to go through what he did. But Hangman is the guy. And listen, you know what you can do it all in for Ospreay? Put him in a sick match. No one's going to be upset. It's so easy for him. For Hangman, I don't want Swerve and Hangman versus the Young Bucks. I do not want that. We do not need them teaming yet. We can.
And I'll offer you this. Swerve and Ospreay versus the Young Bucks.
Bingo. There you go.
Huh?
Easy. They've established they're great friends.
Yep.
Easy. Perfect. Who says no? You don't. I don't.
I pitched it.
I know. And Hangman would be in the world title match. I think if your top four matches for All in Texas are
Holy
Hangman.
Shit. I know what you're about to say, and this is about the fucking rule.
Are Hangman versus Jon Moxley in a Texas death match for the AEW World. It doesn't have to be Texas death, but it should because
it's a cherry on top ultimately for me.
It's in Texas. Like, come on. Yeah. just go with it. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega to combine those two titles. Mercedes Moné versus Tony Storm. And Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland versus the Young Bucks. That's the biggest show of the year for AEW. That is,
Scotty, that might be the biggest show of the year.
That's the biggest show. Well, it's the biggest show of AEW's history if those are the top four matches.
Yeah.
Because every part of their company is checked off. World title. Yep. Mid-card, which I guess that might be coming a world title, but for the basis of this conversation.
Yeah.
The tag team division.
Well,
and the women's. Well,
tag titles not involved here, but
no, but the Young Bucks are, and that will always be the tag division. Then after that, who cares what the rest of the card is? You have 4 signature matches where you'll have everyone wanting to see them.
Yeah.
Even with Jon Moxley in his current form, which I can't stress enough, I can't stand. But that's fine if it's Hangman, and I don't want to hear another word about this Darby Allin mother trucker. I'm done with this. If this ends up being Darby Allin in the end, still, I might give up. I've given up like 3 times already, and as you know, I haven't been watching AEW like 2 weeks, and like I just once the pay-per-view comes around, I'm like, well, if I don't catch up now, I ain't going back.
I was one of the first few people that were like, I think we got to ban Darby, and everyone's like, no, it's still Darby, it's still Darby.
You were correct the moment you said it, and boy, oh boy, you should say it again and again and again, because who could possibly want to see that?
Not right now. I mean, I'm definitely. That's the
not
irony,
when
right?
you have these two punching you in the face to put them over.
Yes. Or
that's
lose,
the thing.
rather.
That's the thing. Even if Ospreay wins, like I know I said I'm not convinced of it, he should still also beat Mox. I need to stress that.
Yes.
Everyone should beat Mox. I said it to you on Wednesday, knowing I had to catch up. I just need to say this. It doesn't matter. Samoa Joe should be walking out world champion. And like, I knew he wasn't gonna.
Yeah.
I also put everything on the line for Swerve to win the world title, and that didn't happen. So, if we can't get Swerve versus Hangman, at least we can get Hangman.
That's
right.
That's what I'm saying. I think ultimately whoever wins here will probably become world champion.
This is go. Are we sure?
Again, like I said, I think Will Ospreay has a bigger chance of losing that match at All in Texas than
if Hangman wins. Hangman's winning the world title. Exactly. I'll put it on the line right now. That's why I have no hope he wins.
If Ospreay wins, I don't know.
Ospreay wins, get ready for another big loss, buddy.
I'm like 60-40 he wins.
And,
that's
and by the way, match placement will matter on that All-In card. Because if Will Ospreay wins, I don't think they're main eventing the show. Not because like that and the moment you see that, right? The moment you see that, you'll be like, oh no. Oh no, that means he's losing, because you can't end your biggest show of the year with another wet fart Death Riders win LOL moment. You just can't.
I agree. Well, speaking of the tag titles, since you brought them up, Hurt Syndicate have a nice little match here, Scotty. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Maybe they'll be joined by their newest member, MJF. We'll find out on Wednesday, I guess. Versus the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara.
Are they still the Ring of Honor tag team champions?
Yes, they are.
Oh, well.
And the trios. Dustin's a trios champion as well.
So there's a real problem, with these tag belts where all the real teams can't face the Hurt Syndicate for some reason.
Well, they're also doing a thing where it's like, which I guess is like most, if not all, title reigns of like they beat them. No, they're doing a thing specifically where they beat a team and then you never see the team again. Like, and they pointed it out on television of like, we hurt people so bad that they stopped showing up to work. The Guns, Cass and Keith, Archer and Cage. Cage was so scared he got injured beforehand, I believe. So part of the gimmick is not only do they beat teams, obviously they hurt people, but they stop appearing on television.
Every time you say it pops me. They do hurt people. That's fascinating. Yeah, I mean, this is a match. I know you're excited for Dustin Rhodes. I know every part of my being you're excited for Dustin Rhodes.
I don't think I'm excited for Dustin Rhodes in this particular instance. I think like there's something about Dustin and Shelton that seems interesting to me. But if anything, I actually might be more interested in Shelton versus Guevara. Like there's something about that seems more interesting.
I'm excited in Bobby destroying Guevara.
Me too. I'm also excited. I'm excited for Bobby Lashley to rear back and do like a lariat so incredibly hard that Sammy Guevara does like 6 flips in the air.
Does a 720.
He does a 720 off a clothesline. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I think this is a nice little match. I think this is moving the ball, moving everything forward. I'm not. If the
Yeah,
Suns of
sure.
Texas win here, that's fun because then all in Texas is them defending, right? Like that's a fun thing. But like ultimately, to me, this is just like a nice little title defense, and then we move forward. Because that's the other thing. Also,
Yeah.
the story of the Hurt Syndicate right now has, like many things involving MJF, have nothing to do with the wrestling matches that are happening in the ring. It has everything to do with MJF and their promos and their bits together.
So like the direction has to be MJF and a partner versus them for the tag belts, right?
That would be my best guess.
At All In. Who the hell is that going to be? We're not going through. We're not. Going
I would say let's look over the AEW roster page, but I think really we should look over the New Japan roster page. Let's see. El Phantasmo it is.
Dear God, that no.
I'll just pick a Westerner, Westerner to Japan, a non-Japanese guy, who just weirdly hasn't left the company, much like Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I guess it could be MVP. That could be fun. I don't know.
No,
I think you're right. Ultimately, this is all leading to just an MJF tag title match.
Why is MJF still here? I just gotta say it once before we move on.
Yeah, I think you say that and then we move on. I think that's the bit.
Yeah, sounds good.
It's whatever. Speaking of title matches that are just like, yeah, this is a nice little title match. Toni Storm defending her title against Mina Shirakawa. What do you think about that new music?
Holy fuck, dude. So obviously I didn't watch live, right? Sure. But there's two things I saw there, like when Dynamite was over. I saw someone post just Mina Shirakawa's new theme song. Mm-hmm. Okay. Didn't see the backlash yet. Yeah. So I just pressed on and played. And I listened to it. I was like, holy shit, this is awful. I was like, this is terrible. And like, I was like, good for her. She learned a new dance for it and everything. But I was like, what's this Mina now thing? Like,
apparently she's like a part of the song, like she did sung it or did some sort of bit
for it. That's nice. It's still really bad though.
Produced by whoever produced the Mercedes Moné theme.
Yeah, I saw Mickey Ruckus run away from the song.
As he should.
I did see that.
I don't blame him.
So I listened to it. I was like, this is like such a bad downgrade from what she used to come out to. And then I saw the backlash and learned that they switched it back, and I was like, no, that's a good call. That was a good call. Like that was a good one. Like this one was not gonna work. Like people get pumped for the Mina song, right? When it hits, like people get really behind.
It's a great song. It
is. It's a great theme song. So I was like, why did we get rid of it? We keep Okada's, we keep all these other people's. We kept Jay White's of all people. Like, why are we getting rid of?
Well, I also like Jay White's song.
I like all three of them.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like Jay White, out of all people, I could have seen them switch. Okada, different.
We've kept Kevin Knight's song, and we got rid of the plane and the Titantron, and we still hear a plane.
Right, like that's the thing. It's like, why get rid of it? And like again, I there's two sides to this. I understand that Mina seemingly was very into it and liked it and put work into it.
I think they got rid of it because Mina wanted to change it.
That's how I get that, but holy. No, just keep the old one. I also learned that Azmi's part of Queen's Quest still, so that was cool. I saw that too, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "How do you get whatever?" This match is whatever.
Yeah, this is Shirakawa and Toni Storm is like a nice little match. There's some history, right? So that's a fun.
Is Mariah coming back? Is that the question? Does Mariah come back?
I think that is an interesting idea. I
don't think Mariah's had her last AEW appearance. That's my hot take.
Ooh, that's an interesting. If she comes back, like the only thing that makes sense for me is that she is involved in some way with Shirakawa, right?
I think
because we can't spin her off further into the Toni Storm verse because
no, absolutely
that's going somewhere else.
I think Mariah should put over Mina before she leaves. I think that would be very good for Mina.
Oh, I agree. I think that's a good idea.
And I think out of all, yes, absolutely. I think Mariah would be all in on that. Huh?
Hmm?
Huh?
Huh?
I could see that be a buy-in match, truthfully. But yeah, I think that actually they probably wouldn't want to put Mariah on the big stage.
Yeah.
But whatever. They can do that on TV. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think that would be nice for Nina to have that like last moment with Mariah too. So
I agree.
And obviously Tony's winning. So that too.
Exactly. Some other fun matches here. We have a stretcher match between Mark Briscoe and Ricochet. This, of course, is coming off of Dynamite, where Ricochet faced Zach Gowen in a winning effort. Which, real quickly, as a side tangent here, Scotty, Zach Gowen legitimately impressed me in his wrestling on Wednesday. I want to be clear, it's not really like in the way of like, oh, he is an amputee, he has one leg, and it's like on the scale of amputee people, handicapped people being wrestlers or whatever. It's the scale of like, no, actually he was pretty like solid, I thought. He did the bit, you remember, I think it was like Total Divas or Total Bellas, where Bryan Danielson was trying to like get back in the ring, and he's like, I want to change my style. I want to be more like animalistic. I want to run around like a bear, and he starts like going around the ring like he's a bear. Zach Gowen did that in the ring. he that's how he moves around, is that he was like, moving around like he's Bryan Danielson as a bear. And I was like, this is perfect. This is what I wanted to see, baby. So that was a really fun match. But here we go. Stretcher match. Mark Briscoe, Ricochet. I mean, you and me love Mark Briscoe, and you and me love to hate Ricochet right now. So it's a stretcher match, which isn't the most exciting thing, but like I'm looking at this and like this fucking I'm in for it,
Yeah, like the stipulation, I was like,
I'm like, all right.
that's
All
like,
right.
wait a minute, that's an odd one, but I guess I think it could have just been straight up singles, but I know they've been fighting technically for a while, so you wanted to put a stip, and you also have Anarchy in the arena, so you got to battle all these things. So you're like, how do we take advantage of what Mark Briscoe and Ricochet do? Let's use a stretcher, I guess, which is fine, and it'll be fun, and that's what matters. I'm looking forward to it.
It will be fun to see Mark Briscoe do a froggy bow onto Ricochet onto it on a stretcher.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And probably miss. It should also be clear.
Also very true. Ricochet obviously wins. I don't know like what the right direction for Ricochet is, but what I do know is that it probably should be a belt sooner than later.
Yeah, so we're continuing the concepts, the talks of All in Texas, and I was thinking about that for the past several weeks of like, what is Ricochet doing? And if the idea is that like, we're combining these other two titles, then the only other title that Ricochet can really go for is Adam Cole's TNT title.
Oh, there you go. That's absolutely happening.
And it's like, is that the match? Is that what I want?
Buddy, could not figure out who the hell the TNT champion was till you said it. They had good chemistry back in the day.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
Yeah. So if they can repeat it, that would be great for Adam Cole. So it's not a terrible idea, I don't think.
Yeah, no, let's show some love for Ricochet, am I right?
Show some love for Ricochet. I love that.
And
bit.
then they slap his head.
I love that. Bald. I love the bit.
Did you know he's bald?
No, I didn't know that.
I learned that this week, actually.
Remember when Adam Cole was almost brought to the main roster of WWE, and they were going to tell him to shave his head?
Yeah, and be a manager.
Yeah, he was going to be bald.
It's a good thing he didn't go bald.
What I'm saying is that All in Texas should be title versus hair. Wait, no, not title versus hair. Ricochet has nothing to give up.
Adam Cole has to give up everything.
It's title and hair versus nothing.
Wait a minute. What about title and hair versus hair transplant?
No,
or whatever the fuck it's called.
versus Bosley.
Like you get these terrible segments for the next like month of Ricochet going through treatment,
forcibly going through hair treatment,
growing through the MJF treatment.
Look, we're just gonna take a little bit of hair from here, and then we're gonna move it over here.
Yeah,
it's such a dumb bit.
Plus, so bad.
Also on the show, we have Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness versus FTR.
Good job, Bryan Danielson. It's gonna have been you.
That's right. That is right. I have been enjoying this heel FTR turn, especially with Stokely in their corner. I've been enjoying it.
I'm happy we found a job for Stokely. I can't wait till FTR randomly turns babyface one day, though, and Stokely's just kicked to the curb again.
Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia, I think that's a fun little team, but watching that promo segment on, I want to say it was Dynamite, right? There's something about it to me where I was like, what about FTR and Nigel McGuinness?
That would be something.
What about them as a trio?
I could be into that. I'm excited for the match, though. I think it's a fun one.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I will say this. Do you give a shit about Daniel Garcia or
right now? Not really.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I like Daniel Garcia, but it is. Just
I didn't really for his entire title reign either. So
yeah. The thing is that like I like Daniel Garcia, but he is.
We got to stop calling people young pillars and young killers and all these things. Every single one of them has been like,
yeah.
It's we like
bite.
them?
It's a snake bite,
right? Who are the killers? Hook, Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, and Lee Moriarty.
Yes.
Yeah, that go. Going as well as the pillars.
Well, the problem with whenever you do that is that you set pressure and expectations to an all-time high. And when these people, especially the young killers or whatever, these are actively still developing talents, right?
Yeah.
Like, so they're not going to be anything anytime soon. And in the day and age where it's like, you have to give it to me now or I'm going to freak out. Like there's some sort of fucking Robinson, I think you should leave sketch. It is the thing of like, you're just going to kill their momentum in their career if you do all that.
This is when I asked nicely, please do not put Kevin Knight in any sort of thing like that. Please.
Please. I beg of you, please.
Let me enjoy him. Thank you.
We both like Daniel Garcia. It is just the thing of I think he is heatless right now. I think that this FTR thing could heat up a little bit, but it's a matter of we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's Double or Nothing right now. Obviously, there could be one more match on the main card. I don't expect it. I guess they're certainly plausible, but we're definitely going to get more 0 hour stuff.
Oh my god!
Now and next week on Sunday. Yes.
Cope's gonna come back soon.
Where did that come from?
Well, FTR. I was like, why did they get turned heel again? And then I remembered, and then I said,
because then you do the babyface Cope.
Then I said to myself, how do we get to All In? And I was like, it's FTR versus Cope in person, which should be Christian Cage, but will it? I don't know.
Yeah. We'll have to find out.
Remember he exists as I scroll the roster page. Was a tough pill to swallow. Oof.
Well, there's another show happening in the Glendale or Arizona arena. I got to look at their Twitter page because according to Cage Match, this is also in the Desert Diamond Arena in the same building as Double or Nothing for a free show.
Really?
I'm like, I gotta look that up because that's crazy if that's true. Yeah. Hold on. Outside the Desert Diamond Arena is what it says online for a free show, free admission. So if you're
it's gonna be hot, huh?
Yeah, it's gotta be hot. So if you're going there, then great, go to this show because it's gonna be free. So why the frick not? It's Dean 2. Dean, of course, was a show happening 2024 WrestleMania weekend. It was arguably, if not I think in my opinion, it was the indie show of the weekend, right? The WrestleMania weekend show of the weekend, let's say. It was a legitimately great card and a great show. This card is...
You loved it.
I loved it. I truly loved it. This is now...
You haven't stopped talking about it.
I bring it up every once in a while.
I'm not even kidding. Like when I saw this was announced, I said literally to you, congratulations.
Yes. Yes. And I should be thanked. And I should be congratulated because this is a dream. This is also now being partnered with Ring of Honor. So that's also very fun that this is being co-promoted with AEW. I imagine, Scotty, that co-promotion in some regard is why it's free, you have to think.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're not getting any money.
Exactly. So we do have a little card here. It's going to be shorter than the last Dean show, but this is what we have so far. I imagine the
Aren't they
top of
doing another one too
yes, they're doing
in
a
Texas?
third one around all in Texas, I believe. So what we have here so far is, I imagine, at the top of the card, the Ring of Honor pure title match, Lee Moriarty versus Matt Mako, the former Matt Makowski. I don't know how it's, I don't know if it's Mako or Mako or whatever it is,
Do you
but
know he was once went by Captain Heel Hook?
that's hilarious. Do you know he once went by Snapmare Matt?
Now I do.
I think it's a fun little match. The Ryan Knightsey dream match of dream matches of indie level dream matches. Adam Priest versus Mad Dog Connolly in a dog collar match, which again to me was one of the best matches at the Dean show, which was one of the best matches of WrestleMania weekend. Mad Dog Connolly versus
Talk about a match that I still have to hear about.
fucking ruled. And now we have Adam Priest. This is gonna fucking rule.
There's never been a sadder moment in the history of Ring Post Radio than when he asked me about what I thought of it, and it wasn't the same level of excitement. Oh, I felt so bad because I wasn't ready for that.
It ruled. We also have, I don't know how I feel about this one, but I think I'm interested at the very least. Rhino versus Manders. All right, I'm fine with that. I think.
Why is Rhino always here?
I don't know.
All of a sudden,
I don't know. Well, I do know that they're building up to that 2300 residency in shortly. I don't know exactly when.
So you know what that means? A lot of Rhino for some reason again.
Well, I do think now at this point,
Can we kill ECW nostalgia, please?
Well, I was going to say, and I
know you're gonna say with Sabu and make me look like shit. I get it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't make you look like shit, Scotty.
No, I make myself look like shit. You just have to bring up the point of why.
But with Sabu passing, I feel like definitely one of those shows should be like a Sabu memorial show, and it will probably have even more ECW people, a Tony Mamaluke or whatever, the FBI as much as they can get, or whatever. I imagine we'll get a bunch of other people. Josh Woods versus Tom Lawler is also on the show. I'll be honest, it doesn't necessarily excite me. That's kind of boring. It's kind of a boring match. And then we have a 10-man Cybernetico, which
all right, I can get behind that.
We only have 4 announced so far. But so far the 4 announced are pretty good. We have the Beast Mortos. Pretty good. We have Dr. Cerebro, which of course, who was on the previous Dean show.
I don't know.
Gringo. He is a luchador with a doctor gimmick, and part of his doctor mask is that his brain is it's graphic on that his brain is exposed.
Mine too.
Gringo Loco. You gotta have a Gringo Loco there. Yeah, and a little man known as Hologram.
What happened to Hologram and Commander?
I don't know. Did someone get injured? I don't know.
Commander's got to be hurt, right?
They last wrestled as a tag team on April 4th.
Yeah, they were awesome. Can we get that back, please?
And then Commander wrestled with Bandito on Ring of Honor after that for some reason. And then Commander lost his TV title.
So Hologram must have been hurt?
Hologram did that match of Commander. Then he defeated Max Caster in one of those Max Caster gimmicks on Collision. And then on a TV taping, I guess that hasn't aired yet, Hologram and Rhino teamed together to defeat Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. So I don't know. I think that tag team doesn't exist anymore. I fear
why? They were great.
I don't know. I think the Hurt Syndicate were scared, ultimately.
I think we need to learn how to keep good things together. I think that's what we need to do. Now I don't see either of them. And they're a Ring of Honor? You want me to watch Ring of Honor? Because I'm not gonna. I refuse.
I don't know, Scotty.
This is your fault.
It usually is. Yeah, so I don't exactly know where this is airing, to be clear.
Nice.
Last year it aired on IWTV, so it could certainly air there as well.
Imagine
However,
it just didn't air.
that would suck ass. I would hate that. However, they have been uploading a lot of the Dean shows from last year for free online to the Action Wrestling Indie page, indie promotions YouTube channel. So, and Action is also, I guess, in a way promoting this as well, or they're the ones that are like the promoter, I guess, or the people that own all the equipment. So I imagine, Scotty, that this could, if not be on IWTV, it could air for free on the Action YouTube channel.
That'd be cool.
So I think those are the two possibilities. Maybe
what if
it
it's
airs
on Honor Club.
I was going to say it could air live on Honor Club. We haven't, I think, legitimately heard anything about how you can watch this. At least I'm looking. I'm looking on their Twitter page and I see nothing.
I can see the sweat coming down Ryan's head. Like,
I am freaking out at the
moment.
Might
not air. They may not air. I'm Preach versus Matt Doug Connolly. What am I supposed to do with my life?
I imagine this will at least tape. I just don't know if it will air.
What if they make it into Ring of Honor episodes? Will that drive you insane?
It's fine. I don't love it, but it's fine. The fact that it's free admission, it really should be free to watch. It really should just be streamed on like Action's YouTube channel. But alas,
no money.
Hey, look, whatever. That's fine. That's fine by me. It's at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's a memorial show, So
yeah, right. It's for a bigger purpose here.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Dean.
Wear it.
I'm excited for Dean.
What day is it on? Friday or Saturday?
That's a good question. It is on. Let me pull this up real quick. I
I
believe it's on Saturday. Yes, the 24th.
God, it's competing against Saturday night's main event.
Yes, so let's talk about what it's competing against. Of course,
Collision happening next week?
I don't know.
At the same time?
I do not.
Probably not live, right? Oh, maybe it's one of those Thursday gimmicks. When they put it on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll look it up to see if I can find anything.
Collision is recording after Dynamite, so that tells me nothing.
Okay, all right. Where is it? When is it airing? It looks like it would be unknown. Okay, great.
It's the day after Thursday.
Day after.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Do you know the Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Paragons happening on Collision?
Oh, good for them. Good for them. I hope they have a fun time. Saturday night's main event, Tampa, Florida, the Yuengling Center.
I would say speaking of fun, but I can't.
Yeah. Yuengling Center. This is this Saturday in Tampa, Florida.
Hour and a half, by the way. Hour and a half AEW talk. Hour and a half AEW talk.
Yes, that is true. They have so far on this card, Scotty, 4 matches. So
not a single woman in sight.
That is true. Not a single woman in sight. I guess I don't know if that Nia Jax
we spent all of last week praising how the Raw Women's Division's all this good stuff, and they said, "What if we just didn't show any of it?"
Well, to be fair, Scotty, to be fair to Triple H, this could be planned to be a WWE SmackDown Women's Champion match, which would make sense why it doesn't exist on the card. Is that a burn? Is that a fun little burn? Is that a fun little burn?
Point. That's a good point. It's not even a burn. It's just I felt that.
It's a sad truth.
Drop kick that Tiffany did.
Did I see the drop kick that Tiffany did? No, I did not. The one that busted her open.
Yeah, fucking nuts.
I didn't see it, but
I was like that shit right there. Sariism at its finest.
Nia Jax, Sariism, one and the same.
Famously, if people don't know, Sari loves Tiffany Stratton. Loves her.
I mean, I imagine they were probably friends.
They worked together. That was like Tiffany's match to get over when she debuted.
So. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
crazy. Saturday night's main event. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. It also has the 4 matches. It could be that Nia Jax Tiffany thing or whatever. So I guess we'll find out. But right now it's just 4. And those 4 are the following, which we will discuss. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a steel cage match. Of course, this is coming off the heels of their WrestleMania match, their Sin City street fight, where no one wore jeans, which is very upsetting for me. More upsetting than not knowing how Dean is airing. What's that?
I don't think Damian Priest does jeans, man.
And that is something he needs to rectify immediately. Get that boy some.
He's gonna wear jeans and steel cage.
Get that boy some Wranglers. Their Sin City Street Fight match ended up being really solid. So now we have a steel cage. So hey, I think it should be fun. I think it should be a nice little,
It's
another
gonna be
nice.
the fastest steel cage match of all time with how these shows go.
That's a great point. Yeah, because another. I mean, this should be the first match where the steel cage is already down. But knowing WWE, they want to do the whole bit kit and caboodle. So we're just gonna eat up more TV time with the steel cage being lowered. So again, like I said, it should be a nice little fun little match. If it's anything like their Sin City Street Fight at WrestleMania. We also have a tag team match: CM Punk and Sami Zayn, two people who
don't like each other.
Two people that don't like each other that I'm sure will not be at the next Saudi show. Versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker.
See, this is a good match. You can't make me say anything, but this is a good match. Braun Breaker might kill someone, but it's a good match. That's I will say, anytime I see Braun Breaker in there with like someone new, I always think, will he kill them? And this time it happens to be CM Punk. He might.
If he doesn't kill CM Punk, he might do something that pisses CM Punk off, which is also fun.
Yeah, for sure. And there's no power to stop it.
Yeah,
Braun Breaker will be fine. So that'll be half the fun. Like if you see Braun Breaker just absolutely destroy him once.
How much politicking do you think CM Punk is doing to ensure that he doesn't take that spear?
Oh, he's not getting pinned. He hasn't got pinned clean like once in his entire WWE run.
He doesn't necessarily have to get pinned by the spear. I'm saying just the move,
just to actually take it.
Bump.
I think it's 50-50. I think part of him absolutely is trying to avoid it, and the other part's like, well, I could sell that really well. And it's like
the ego aspect of, well, I can sell it really well.
Yeah. So like
that's CM Punk to a T, baby.
Oh God. Now the 2 world title matches that have comedy wrestlers in them.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Get excited for this show because we have 2 world title matches, both very serious.
I don't think
contenders.
One of them's a world title match.
According to Cage Match and Wikipedia, they're both world title matches.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for the WWE World.
That's not awesome. There's nothing awesome about that match.
And I'll just lump in here the undisputed WWE World title or whatever the fuck. John Cena versus R-Truth.
All right, the hot take had to happen.
I do agree. I do agree that match had to happen. I mean, come on.
This is going to be the most heel Cena's been in a fucking match so far. He's fought Cody and Randy Orton in the biggest matches, and this is going to be the most heel he's ever been because it's against our fucking truth. Might last 3 minutes.
These matches tend to be quick, so I don't think that's out of the question.
The fact that John is doing this date, hilarious.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if you saw it, but I was fascinated to see what their story was for this. And R-Truth is doing this match to try to convince John to be John again. And I think that's funny.
Hey, look, we
he should.
We talked about it after what was that? Backlash. Thank you. I suddenly all forgot. You have the fans still cheering John post match. It gets uploaded to Twitter because of course that's where all the story beats get uploaded to. Maybe considering not doing that. Then you have R-Truth with his childhood hero John Cena being the literal, a one-to-one person, the physical embodiment of the fans at WWE of I want to try to convince John to turn back. Now, Scotty, I think it's also fair to say I'm fairly confident that R-Truth will fail in that endeavor, which means that John Cena should honestly turn heel harder on R-Truth. In which case, Scotty, I will argue he's got to make R-Truth bleed.
It's on national TV. I'm not getting my hopes up for that.
I agree. So then I'll ask you this. If it's not going to be blood, on a scale of like Pat McAfee to Snitsky, How far
Dear
do you
God.
think John Cena is going to punt Lil Jimmy?
Oh, very.
Very far. He's
Out of
got
the
him.
building.
Out
Gonna
of
be a
the,
hole
out
in
of
the
the building.
ceiling. God, what a stupid thing. That being said, I'm looking forward to this way more than probably the rest of the show, just because it's gonna be short
Yep.
and it's gonna have hype behind it. So
Yeah.
stupid that it's gonna maybe piss you off, like how
Yep.
much people will be into it.
Yep.
Where is the show?
Tampa, Florida.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. We didn't talk about the Jey Uso Logan Paul thing, but like
I don't want to. I don't
don't
want to.
I
This
don't
match sucks, dude.
I know.
This match is 2 packs of certified ass.
Have we turned
Cor-
the corner on Logan Paul?
Yeet.
Have we turned the corner
Yeah,
on
he's
Logan Paul?
terrible. He's awful. Done.
Okay.
He's an athlete who can do cool things, but he can't wrestle.
I think he can wrestle. I think the problem is that he is a heel, and they taught him that to be a heel, you have to not wrestle.
Slow.
You have to go slow. You have to do shenanigans. You have to like do the same bits to build heel heat.
Methodical, boring bullshit.
Yeah. When you don't have to do that, you can just be like Ricochet and still fly all over the place, or the Young Bucks and still fly all over the place, or
Yeah, the difference
pick a
between
heel.
they're good though. I don't even like the Young Bucks, obviously, like famously, but they're good. Like they're actually good wrestlers too. That helps.
Yeah. And Logan Paul, I think we
Dud?
I'm not gonna say dud because Jey Uso's in the match.
That's the reason I am saying that.
Oh, you're saying the match overall. I thought you were talking about Logan Paul as a wrestler.
No, the match.
Yeah, the match. I don't think it's gonna get to a dud because it's gonna be so overproduced that it's gonna be everything to ensure that it isn't a dud. You know what I mean?
I don't think Jey Uso hits more than 5 different moves.
Are you talking about that generally speaking, or this?
So like,
This is your current opinion, or
17 drop kicks hits counts as 1 move. I mean, 5 literal
you need different varieties.
moves.
Different varieties.
Yeah, I think Mr. 5 Moves of Doom is not John Cena, but it is Jey Uso.
Yeah, that might be true.
Spear, splash, spear,
Super kick,
spear, super kick, super kick, super kick.
maybe a chop. Maybe a chop. I don't know.
Maybe that bad punch he does.
Oh, yes,
like,
that one or whatever.
Yeah, that one. Oh boy, this one stinks.
When he's 100% slapping his bicep.
Events, I can shut it off early. I won't have to talk about it next week, but we won't even talk about this. Why do we even talk about any of these?
We're 100%. Well, we're 100%.
Double or Nothing's going to take the entire show next Monday. Why are we talking about any of this stuff?
Well, I guess I guess you're right. We don't have to talk about Marigold. Shall we just not preview it then?
Brother, I talk about that shit all the time. Like, it's fine if that happened. Now, that being said, you would make the wrong choice not to talk about it because that would be very bad.
Let's talk about Marigold then. Marigold, shine forever in Tokyo, Japan. This Saturday also as well. The Yoyogi National Gymnasium on Cyberfight Wrestle Universe. This is a big time show, obviously, for Marigold. This is a lot of title matches here. Anniversary show. A lot of
2 title matches total.
You're right. There is 2 and a retirement as well. And plus the continuation, I guess, of Marigold versus Marvelous.
Yes.
And then a bunch of other like multi-man matches that I guess we can talk about real quickly, and I'll throw them at you.
There's only one multi.
I'm seeing 2. I'm seeing an 8-woman tag and a 10-woman tag.
Well, the 10-woman's Marvelous versus Marigold.
Yes.
So I'm talking counting it as like just a normal multi tag.
Anything to note? Do you want me to read all of these people's names, or do you just want to generally speak on the first?
So do you want me to say? I know the match is in order. I I have been born to know these things.
Sure.
So I can just save you from the
I think it's more fun, I think, if I say it, but whatever you
it's
think is best.
fun. You say fun, I say cringe. Because I just like some of them I think you'd be fine.
Sure.
But it's the big two tags where it's the big two tags where you just
You're telling me I can't nail
Ryoko Sakamura,
Arena
Nagisa Touch,
Arena
Arina Yamanaka.
Yamanaka, Nagisa,
Got it.
Tachibana,
You got it. Can you go 3 for 3?
Ryoko Sakamura, and
That's 3 for 3.
Chanyota.
Yeah, Chanyota's pretty easy. It's a good job. Good job.
Versus Chiaki,
Hey,
Nagisa Nozaki, Misa Matsui, and Megaton.
Yeah, that's Megaton.
Is there a Transformer in this match?
That's happening. Someone actually only wrote Megatron once. Okay, good job. You did the names pretty well. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I guess I should start from the top. Shino versus Mai Sakurai. Mai Sakurai is still the United National Champion. Do you want my hilarious thought process or my full thought process? Because my hilarious thought process is that Mai Sakurai was not allowed to defend the title on the show because you can't put the secondary belt fourth from the top.
I was wondering. I was like, why is she not defending her title?
Yeah, we can't put that fourth from the top. She's
scared of Shino?
Well, Shino. Okay, so this is her debut. For those who don't know, she is the 16 years old. She is the daughter of former Argion wrestler. Oh my god, I always forget her first name. Michiko Omakai, who, for those who don't know, Argion was Rossi's company before Stardom. And she is the newest super rookie for Marigold. They have given her the super rookie title. If anyone watched the Julia farewell match, she was the other rookie that was absolutely wailing on Julia in that match with some kicks. So this is her. It's her debut. Very exciting. Always nice to see a debut. Marigold's pumping out rookies. This is going to be their second of the year. They have another rookie debuting in June. So very cool there. And Mai Sakurai was the handpicked opponent. I really thought they were going to put the belt on the line. I got super excited that the rookie was just going to debut in this big match, just because that's crazy, but that's not the case. But I'm excited. I always like to see a rookie, especially when they're being shown as a super rookie. That's always a lot of pressure, but it's pressure that I like to see these wrestlers live up to.
I say this jokingly, but also with respect. How many super rookies have been in this company?
Just 2.
Okay, it feels like there's a lot. It feels like
there's 2 in 5 months, so that's why.
Maybe that makes sense.
And Utami was a super rookie once upon a time years ago. That was the last and Senka Akatsuki, who's in Marvelous, is seen as a super rookie by Joshi fans, and she is also wrestling in this company from time to time. So that's probably also adding to your how many super rookies do we have?
There's 4 super rookies floating around Marigold.
Generationally. Well, Tommy's not a rookie.
Yes, but a former super rookie, right?
Yeah, former super rookie. Yeah, it's and I will say this, that it's not a term just handed out. I will I know a lot of them in 2 seconds, but it is a term that is used with the idea of we are going to believe in you and push you a long way. And I think that's always important. You don't want to toss it on someone you don't believe in, obviously, because this one's more interesting because she is just 16 and she is the daughter of a wrestler. So yeah, and that's the other thing about Marigold. This is now the second daughter in Marigold. So a lot of former wrestlers having their kids join. First of all, Kazuna Tanaka, for those who don't know, and Yumi Fukawa, whose daughter is of course Kazuna, and Minoru Tanaka. I don't know, this is random, but I was almost saying Masato Tanaka. Boy, oh boy, would I be off.
Just say Heat. Just say Heat, and everyone will know what you're talking about.
That's a good point. Yeah, Heat. Anyways, moving on. Then you have
Just real quickly. Okay, so Marigold, obviously, most of Japan as well in terms of Joshi has a lot of super rookies. But
no,
who are
that's not
the
true.
but who are the young killers of Marigold?
We don't like to. They have the funny thing about Marigold is they have a very clear like future core of
A core four?
they don't have a fourth yet.
Four that you
Shino,
could build a foundation around and call them pillars?
I think so. I mean, I think Shino will be the fourth. So yeah, probably. But for now, we only have 3, so we can't say that yet.
Who's the person in AEW that called themselves the Foundation?
Oh,
Because there was the 4 pillars, but they're like,
yeah.
I'm the Foundation.
Yeah. Oh shit, I don't remember. AEW, the Foundation, not an AEW Foundation, and the Owen Hart.
I'll look it up while you talk about the next match. How about that?
I don't think you're ever gonna find it. Yeah, the next match is just a undercard tag. That is what this is. It's the Darkness Revolution for Nagisa Nozaki, Chiaki, Misa Matsui, and Megaton facing off with Chen Yoda, Arina Yamanaka, Ryoko Sakamura, and Nagisa Tachibana. Very simple. The heels will win. They will pin one of the 2 rookies, and that will be that. But I'm happy Chen Yoda gets a pay-per-view spot, so that's nice. There you go. Did you find it? It wasn't a long preview. You can't just be like, oh, this is the next preview. It's like the shortest match possible. I'll talk all about these matches a little bit more in depth this week, but we're on a time limit here, and Ryan's never going to find this, by the way.
I can't find it.
You can't search AEW Foundation. You just get told about the Owen.
I get told about the Owen, but then you also get told about Jonathan Gresham. Of course, his former stable, the Foundation, Ring of Honor.
Oh God!
Tag team match: Koki Amare and Kizuna Tanaka, daughter of Heat, versus Chiaki Goto and Manami Yuyuki.
Chika Goto. Chiaki was in the last match. You bastard.
You're right.
This is Koki's return match. She tore her ACL in January.
Yeah. Wait, this January?
Yes.
What is she? Fucking John Cena? Koki Amare comes out like this, the head down, arms down to the
so yeah. It's scary, admittedly. Don't know. She says she's 100%. She's 100% ready to go, which is good. But
I don't believe that shit.
she also set this as her date when she got hurt, so we'll see. But that's the GHC Women's Champion walking back in. So for those who wanted to know, should be a fun return for her. She's been missed as someone who watches on a week-to-week basis. So hopefully she can figure things out, because a lot of her offense is like big boots and stuff. So that injury does take away from that. So I'll be interested to see how she does.
Yeah.
I'm saying this next match. Nope, not letting
you. No, you're talking about. You got Rhea Sato. You got Hummingbird. You
can get Hummingbird.
Komomo Manami. You got Naomi Ishikawa. You got Natsumi Shizuki. Former.
I wasn't worried about the Marigold side.
Oh, okay. Then let's lock in. We got Riko Kawahara. You got what is this? Amar Ea. You have
Maria. For those who didn't connect the dots there. Dear God.
You have Senka Akatsuki. You got Sora.
Akatsuki.
You got Sora Ayame, and you got Hozan.
Hozan.
Hi Hozan.
Oh my God.
I nailed that. What are you talking about? I nailed it.
You did not. Have some respect. What do you think you are? English commentary for Joshi in 2025? Come on.
Yeah.
You're doing better with a lot of the names.
Thank you. Thank you.
Which is a shock for you. Oh God. Yeah, so Marigold and Marvelous are in a feud, obviously. Yeah. Riko Kawahara and Maria they just won the Twin Star belts, which are the tag belts, beating the Nai Takahashi and Tsuru Yamaoka last weekend. So obviously a notch in their cap. This will be the 5th match in the series of Marvelous versus Marigold as well. Just counting every time it's one side versus the other.
Yeah.
Marvelous is leading 3-1. So it is been a rout so far. That being said, the interesting or difficult aspect per se of this match is that Marvelous had Magenta turn heel. So like they are both against Marigold and Marvelous technically. So they this will be one of those, can they coexist? Which I'm worried about. But if it's just mostly fought straight up, these two sides do a really good job at putting a lot of care into defending their promotion, if that makes sense. I think that's kind of the lovely part of this feud. For those who don't know and maybe are tuning into this and you don't usually listen to my Joshi stuff, Senka Akatsuki is the one to watch on the Marvel side. That is Chigusa Nagayo's new golden
Super
rookie. She doesn't title him super rookie, but let's just say this.
I was gonna write down 5 then on this card.
No, she was the one I said earlier. She is so Nagayo has a history of like her students in the bloodline of red. That's what she calls it. Mako Satomura.
There's never a bloodline of blue. I mean, blood is blue, folks. What are we doing?
Well,
anyways,
you just messed me up. Thank you. Mako Satomura.
I got more tangents. Don't worry. I got more tangents locked and loaded, but go on.
Takumi Iroha and now Seiko Akatsuki. So she's wearing the red like Chigusa did. Sorayame, for what it's worth, is wearing the blue like Lioness Asuka did. So there is a Crush Gals reimagining type thing going here. They don't call them that, but that's kind of just the acceptance. In Joshi history, when you see the blue and you see the red, you kind of instantly go to that. So it's fascinating and it's cool to see Chigusa doing what she's doing. So yeah, that's should be a fun match as well. But then there's the big 4, which are really the ones to if you are coming in and aren't as invested like myself, these are the ones that will jump out to you the most.
Yeah. Singles match, of course, Takumi Iroha versus Sari Yamaoka. I assume this is another Marigold versus Marvelous bit.
Yes. It is indeed. Sari Yamaoka is the one they've got. Yes, the super rookie. She was the super rookie when she debuted. Like the bring back that term per se was for her, and she's a former Twin Star champion. She is Nanai Takahashi's protege. She is only 4.5 months into her career. She debuted in January. She missed a month because of a concussion. And she's going to be destroyed by Takumi Iroha in this match. And it's probably going to rule. That's kind of the match. That's the basis of it. She's a surreal athlete that is obviously still figuring things out, but her hope spots are very exciting. She hits the most. Sari Yamaoka hits the most. What's the fucking word? The most impactful drop kick I've seen in some time. She just kind of hits it like there. She is so like her inspiration to get into wrestling was Julia. She is so much more athletically gifted than Julia was. It's very funny. Her wrestlers that she's very clearly taking from are Chihiro Hashimoto, and that's the main one, but she's also taking from the 9 now. So pretty good bases to be taking from. But Takumi is going to destroy this poor girl, and it's like I said, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Can't wait. Can't wait to watch the poor rookie absolutely just get destroyed.
Yeah, me too. Marigold, she puts the kick and drop kick, it sounds like. Marigold Superfly Championship match here. Victoria Yuzuki defending her title against Mayu. I got bad news, Yuzuki.
Yeah, Mayu obviously is here happy as can be. Victoria Yuzuki, not a super rookie, but she does embody the term. She's been fantastic since she's debuted back in Stardom in November 2023, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
She has just kept making strides. She is, in fact, the student of Mayu Iwatani. So this is 1 year later. The beauty of that match and everything that's obviously happened since, they now meet again in the ring for the Superfly Championship. And like I said earlier, there's a reason Mai Sakurai couldn't defend her title on the show, because the fact that Rossi had to put this third to the top was probably low enough for him. He was like, I can't go lower. 15-minute time limit. So that's something to keep in mind. There is not a long time limit for this match because of the Superfly aspect. I firmly believe Mayu's obviously winning, and I also believe that Mayu is winning this title, obviously to start the Grand Slam, but to smartly work with the younger wrestlers on the roster first, which I think is a very, very smart plan by them. Should be a lot of fun. I'm fascinated to see if Yuzuki's if her stress levels are high.
Yeah.
Because she's obviously in there with the person she idolizes. And the beauty of Yuzuki is she's overly confident, so she will go all out, for better or worse. And the other thing about Yuzuki, which I realized the other day, is as much as she loves Mayu, she is going to be like the EO for this company. And like, she is from the word go, she's been far more gifted than like most rookies. Not a super rookie, so can't use that comment. But she is going to be the one that's pushed super high, and it'll be very fun to watch. So I'm excited for her. I'm excited for Mayu, and I have all the confidence that Mayu does Mayu things, because that's been what she's been doing. So this will mean a lot to both of them, and new champion, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways it would make obviously, I think any other company would probably put Mayu Iwatani in the world title match, and I think eventually, obviously, that's the case.
Yeah.
But the recontextualization that we've kind of been coming across, that we've been discussing over the show with Marigold, is like, especially I think these early years, is that like right now you kind of have to look at it as like a developmental territory in a lot of ways. Of like, this is a promotion that was just developing a lot of talent, and that's partly, if you think about it, like that's why we're doing a Marvelous feud, right? Is that we can get some outside experience. That's kind of what you're talking about. How that's why Mayu is going for this belt, so she can work a lot of the younger wrestlers, and help get them to those like 10, 15-minute matches to more substantial stuff. So it all makes sense in that regard as well.
When this company was made, the entire premise was to build for the future of Joshi. That was always what they was said, and that is what it will be. So I think that's why I find it so exciting, is because again, they have a lot of options to be world champion and such, but it's about the future and the long-term future, which is always good. That's what you want to see. I think that's what you want to see out of promotions, is building for the future, especially if it's brand new, which this is just the first anniversary. They are still 2 days away technically from being a full company since their first show. So it's not like we are, way past the anniversary. No, in 2 days it'll be their anniversary officially. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. Next up is the world title match. Speaking of, Utami Hayashishita defends that title against Mirai.
This will be the best world title match of Utami's run. This will be it's gonna go for match of the night. It's gonna be this in the main event. The main event probably wins out because of the emotional side, obviously, of the retirement. But there's not a wrestler I believe in more in Marigold pre-Mayu than Mirai. She has been the ace of this promotion. She has embodied everything you want in someone who, kind of carries the promotion forward with or without a belt around her waist. And she has put in so much work. She, for those who don't know, is one of the 2 trainers for this promotion. It is her and Nanai Takahashi. So there's a lot of care that she has in this. But now she goes for the world title. A year built up, obviously, between these two, because when they jumped from Stardom, it was these two as the main eventers, obviously with Julia not being around for the long term. So I'm excited for Mirai to get this opportunity. Utami's reign will continue. I don't think that is of the question, and I think it obviously should, because the one thing with Marigold these first few months, the focus has been on the Nai and her retirement and those belts, because she had the Twin Stars until 2 weeks ago. So this will now be a fascinating part of Utami now trying to reestablish herself at the top of the company. But I think this will be the match that gets everything right.
Yeah, and then the main event, of course, is the the theme of 2025. Another retirement match here for Marigold. Nai Takahashi, obviously former Stardom, one of the first stars of Stardom, if you will, calling it quits after a billion years, probably. I don't know off the top of my head. It started in 1996. So how old am I? And then figure that out.
She was in AJW. She was in Stardom at the beginning. Like the long list of check marks, you kind of have in wrestling or in Joshi history right there.
She'll of course have her final match here in Marigold, and presumably ever, of course, it's wrestling, against Miku Ano.
We don't assume things,
I'm not gonna assume anything right now.
But fun fact about Nanai, as far as I remember, and I could be wrong, but I believe she was the last triple WA champion, which was the AJW belt. So she was the last one of those. So history there. This is gonna be another bummer. I'm so sick of retirement matches. I'm so and I say that in a nice way, but like they're so emotionally draining as someone who has had to watch 3 from the Joshi world specifically. Now, Tams was a whole different one, but I just watched the Mako one last month too, and now Nanai's. And honestly, this might piss people off. I don't really care. Nanai's will probably affect me the most as someone who's really taken a liking to her work and what she's done for, say, this company and such. So yeah, that's that. And obviously it's a big nod to Aono here, who was a shock for a lot of people getting the opportunity to be the retirement match. But you make a star here. You make a undeniable star here. Obviously had a title already and such, but I think this is a lot bigger than that. And because there'll be a lot of eyes on this show selling well and all these things. So I'm very excited. But I'm also upset because this is it.
That is, of course, Marigold Shine Forever this Saturday. You can watch the whole thing live on Wrestle Universe. All right, we're at the 2-hour mark, so I think that's probably going to do it here for us on Ring Post Radio. Scotty, but obviously, before we go, give us some plugs. Give us your match of the week. You caught up and watched 1 billion Dynamite, so maybe there's something in there, or maybe there's some other Joshi thing that you watched this past week. But give us those plugs. Give us that match of the week.
Plugs, youtube.com/@ScottEWrestling. I will have a full length preview for Marigold Shine Forever. If you want more information about the wrestlers and the matches themselves and the history there, I will be sure to have that up on Wednesday. 5-Star Joshi show each and every Friday if you want weekly Joshi coverage as well. Follow me at ScottEWrestling on Twitter, Blue Sky. That's it. I don't do any other social media. So that's it. Those two. I think I have an Instagram, but like that'd be useful. That'd be useful for you. Anyways, my match of the week. Match of the week. Next Saturday I'll do a live review of Marigold. So if you want to check that out, I think it'll be on my YouTube channel. That's the idea right now, is I will do it live on my YouTube channel, first live show on the channel. So that should be fun. My match of the week is a fascinating one because boy, oh boy, have I not enjoyed the Best of Super Juniors from what I've seen. I've seen 2 shows. I've only seen 2 shows, so it's not like I've got through the Corkins or something.
Yeah, I've heard that they pick up a little bit more in the
So
Corkins.
I'm halfway through it so
I've heard
far.
2 great main events at the Corkins.
Yeah, I'm about to get to the main event of night 1, so we'll see there. Let's see. I mean, I kind of brought up the trios match earlier that I saw, so I won't say it again. Yeah, I don't wanna copy and paste, you know?
Sure.
That'd be lame of me. But a lot of this week has been catch up.
Yeah.
Where was that match? There was a match I was so late on, and I think you said you liked it. Maybe it was that AEW one.
I believe that Swerve Trios match was my last week match of the week, I believe.
Yeah, so like I'm not gonna copy that. Yeah, I'll just do a Joshi match. Why not? Why not stay true to myself? Nanae Takahashi and Tsuruya Yamioka versus Magenta for the Twin Star Championships, as I just talked about ad nauseum. I guess I didn't really talk about the match itself. So yeah, that's my match of the week. Thank you everyone for listening. Bye. Well, Ryan's got to do his plugs, but bye.
My match of the week is going to be the main event of the night 3 of the tour, the first Korakuen Hall show. It is going to be Hiromu Takahashi versus Kosei Fujita. Great match.
Hearing you say Hiromu Takahashi is always shocking.
What
just because you don't like him anymore? Like you don't like him, so like hearing you have to praise him's funny.
He's still a good wrestler. I just can't get into the guy.
He's going on to heavyweight, right? Like that's gotta be the direction.
I mean, he's currently in the best of the Super Juniors, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, Kevin Knight is too, and Kevin Knight's like huge. Like,
that's true.
Like that's all they talk about on commentary. Is like, yeah, he can't do this anymore.
Yeah, so I don't know. But no,
I have a reason to come at you at the end of the show. By the way,
what's that?
I'm going to come at you at the end of the show because I know what plug you're going to do, and I'm going to come at you. So just continue.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. My plugs are, of course, going to be talking about the ballot. We put out the very last episode, not the very last episode. Hold on, but the most recent episode, all about Io Sky, aka Io
and
Shirai.
That's what I'm going to come at you for.
Okay.
You put it in the Voices of Wrestling chat. That's like setting me up to get yelled about. People don't like me there to begin with.
You got you got several compliments.
That's shocking. Because I'm sure there's a comment somewhere that is not. I'm not going to look for my mental health.
Sure, but I'll give you the I can give you the compliments after the show.
I got the from you.
Yeah,
and I was like, I know why you did it. Because it's obviously like a big thing that's vow based too, like because they do a lot of the work for it. So I had no problem with it, but I was like, oh, he is just trying to get me killed. So yeah, I had to yell at you for that for doing the right thing. By the way, I'm not mad at you for doing what you had to, but when you tagged me, I was like,
yeah. Well, it's like I know that like you've
like, don't look.
You've written stuff for them in the past. Obviously, you've been on the flagship as well in the past, so it's like they know of Scotty. So I just need to like make it acknowledgement, like, hey, you know this person, that sort of thing. But yeah, the ballot episode about Io Shirai just most recently came out. We did get several compliments about it, and I think it was really good conversation that we had. Did we get any attacks? No, I don't think we really got any.
That didn't say it to you, at least.
Not to me. I don't. It also sounds like not to you. Maybe Trent got a bunch. I don't know.
No. Most people that don't like me don't say it to me.
Yeah,
they just say it elsewhere and act like I don't exist.
But it was really good conversation. Really good talking points about Io Shirai being just a hot take great wrestler. Phenomenal wrestler, and then the sort of like interesting dynamics and issues regarding her drawing stuff, and then sort of where we are right now, I guess, of her historical significance. But a really great conversation between you and Trent, the former Star and Road Boys. So very good show there. But that's not the only ballot thing, because this Wednesday there'll be a special bonus episode of the ballot, all about Sabu. Obviously the normal premise of the ballot is that we talk about all the first-time newcomers of the ballot. People that have never been on the ballot before. Sabu technically right now is not on the ballot, not known to be on the ballot, but he's going to be on the ballot. And he's going to be on the ballot again because he's already been on it before and he fell off before. But since his passing, I wanted to do something a little bit different. It's not going to be a normal episode of the ballot. I've asked several past and hopefully future guests to be on the show, send in some audio, giving some thoughts on Sabu, his career, and most importantly, of course, his candidacy for the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. So there'll be that bonus episode this Wednesday, of course. So you can check that out wherever you get podcasts. And then on Patreon, patreon.com/countoutpod, we'll have another episode of Hustle, Loyalty, Retrospect, the John Cena retrospective series covering 2007 and 2008. 2 very strange years for John Cena. One great year, arguably, Scotty, the best year of his career, at least up to that point. And then 2008, a weird, wonky year filled with injuries. And the fact that he came back early, I think just kind of was like, what do we do with the guy now? But an interesting thing with John Cena, we'll talk about that. That'll come out this Thursday on the Patreon, patreon.com again /countoutpod. Next week, Ring Post Radio, we're going to talk about, we're probably going to be on Monday, unless anything massively changed, it'll probably be on Monday because we're going to talk about Double or Nothing. We're going to talk about Marigold. We're going to talk about Dean, ideally. We're going to talk about Saturday night's main event. We're going to talk about, probably the Best of the Super Juniors finals, because those finals will be on the 13th. Not the 13th. It'll be the 13th night of the Best of Super Junior tour on June 1st. So the following Sunday will be the finals. So we'll preview those finals. And and that'll be everything we discuss next week, I believe. Another big time show. So get into that. Follow Ring Post Radio wherever you get podcasts. Follow Count Out Pod on social media and listen to the rest of our shows on the Count Out Podcast Wrestling Network. And without any more further to say, that is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We'll see you all next week on Monday for another great show. Enjoy your Taco Bell.